All right, we are streaming live here, and I'm just going to spend some time tonight going through something I said I would go through for a while, and I haven't. So I'm just going to get after it. I've been promising some people that I would tackle how to make a Zap or how to work with a Zap where Google Sheets live updates a Webflow collection. So a lot of people tend to get stuck on live item update because it is kind of different. And so I just wanted to show tonight kind of how to do this. I figured if I'm going to make a video and record it and share it with people, why not stream it live? And if people decide to watch, great. And if people don't watch, that's also great. So I'm just going to, for the no people watching here, I'm just going to quickly tweet about this real quick. So, in fact, I may have already tweeted it. We'll see. Live, let's do it. So first thing I want to do is I just want to start off by creating a Webflow project. So that's going to be my first step. I'm going to jump in here and say, let's start a new project. I'm just going to start with a template because I think it would be easier. So I'm going to look at the free templates. And I kind of like a specific template. I like this one. So I'm just going to use this template right here. I'll say use for free. And then I'm going to create a project. Just so we have like some visuals here to work with. I just didn't want to have to build from scratch. The whole point of this is kind of show how that update happens on the back end. And so let's get started. So what I'm going to do, if I can work with this here, okay. I am going to create a collection. So I'm going to start there. So I'm going to come up here and hit create a new collection. And then now I need to give the collection some sort of a name. So if we're going to take this from Google Sheets to Webflow, I just need a collection that I'm going to update. And there's some pre-built ones here in my template, but I want to start with, a blank slate here. So I'll have, actually, we could actually use, let's just say team members is what we're going to use, right? So team members is a collection I'm going to use. I want to live update team members. And I want to, put this put it in a Google Sheet. So if I update a team member's information, if their job title changes, if, image changes, and we could go in and edit this field. So let's these fields. So let's go in and add a couple more. We'll just say job title. We'll say field 1. Just gonna create some basic fields here because it doesn't really matter what they are. The whole point is we just want to be able to update them. I don't know what everybody's use case is for this. But I just want to have some data here. So I'm going to save this collection. Okay. And so now I need to just kind of be able to work off what's here. So typically what I do is I come up here and I create, so if you type in sheets.new, you'll get a brand new spreadsheet in Google if you have a Google account. And I'm just going to call this live update Zap sheet. Okay. So boom, I've got that. And now I need to set up my sheet so that it's ready to start updating Webflow. Okay. So fields I have here: name, profile picture, job title. So I'm going to start there. Just give me a header row name, and I'll have to look back here. Profile picture. Okay. And then I had job title, field 1, field 2. Okay. Job title, field 1, and field 2. Okay, so now I've got all of these fields set up across here, and but I need a few other things. So one of the things that trips people up that I see all the time is, okay, but how do I live out? Thank you, Eric. Thanks for sucking up. It's really nice of you. This guy makes this seem so easy. You know I don't. But I'm going to try. So one of the things I see people get caught up in all the time is, where do I get the item ID from Webflow to set this up? Okay, so we need a field here in the Google Sheets to hold the item ID. So I'm going to create another column, and I'm just going to call it item ID. Bam. And so now I have item ID listed here as well. Okay. All right. So in in this instance, I've already got some items that exist here, right? And so how do I get the item IDs for things that already exist in my collection? And this one's a harder one to tackle, so I'm going to skip this part for now. I have a video that I will link in here. In fact, let me just throw it in chat right now, just so everybody has it. So let's see here. Okay, so what we want to do is, I just want to share and copy this link. Okay, I'm going to throw this in chat here. So this is how you can go about getting item IDs. It's a link to a video you can use to get item IDs of items that already exist in your collection. So if you wanted to get the item IDs of all these, that video will help you get it. And I'll cover that some here in a little bit, but I'm going to show you kind of like a cheater's way around to get this, and we're going to create a couple of apps. So here's where I'm going to start. I'm also going to create a page, or go to my pages, and I'm just going to go to the About page, and I'm going to delete this, and then right in here, let's take a look in my container, delete this. I'm just going to go ahead and throw in a form block. Oops. Let's go ahead and throw in a form block here. So I'm going to drop a form block into this container. And in fact, I'm going to remove this class here. So, and then what I want to do is, I want a field for every thing that shows on this sheet, right? So like, I need like a name. That's perfect. I could say, profile picture, and then here on this field, I'm going to change this to just plain, and I can call this profile picture, and then we'll change the label here to also say profile picture. Okay, so name, profile picture. What else? Job title. We need that. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this field and paste it. Copy this label and paste it. So we'll say job title. And then we'll edit this field. Call it job title as well. And then profile picture. I'm not going to require this. And then I'm going to copy this label and copy this field, because we had at this point, I think, field 1. We'll rename this, call it field 1. And then we'll do the same thing here. We'll call it field 2. Just pasting these across, we'll call this field 2. Okay, so now my form matches this here, and it also matches my collection here. Okay, so I've got the same fields in all places, and so that's where I'm going to start. And then just the perfectionist in me wants that to look the same, so I'm going to go ahead and give that a class up button. But so now I have, and I wonder if there are inputs down for this. Oh yeah, there are. Perfect. Actually, that looks weird. Let's not do that. Okay. So now we have all of our fields set up here, and then I'm going to go in here into my form, and I'm just going to call this new. We'll call it add. Oh, that's the ID. We'll call it add new team member. So that's the name of our form. It's an add new team member form. Okay. So now that we have that here, we have this named, our form named. We want to go ahead and start working with it. So where did the camera shot of me go? We hit it because you don't need to see that anymore. Just want to focus on what's important. All right. So now we've got this, and then if this was like really a live site, what I would do is I would password protect this page, so that people couldn't go stumbling across my page and automatically add somebody to my spreadsheet, unless that was the whole point of my site. Like maybe I want users to be able to add things in, but I would hide this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish, and so we publish the site. And then we're going to view this page. And then I'm going to fill out this form just one time. So I'm going to say, my name is, the name of the person is Ben Parker, which is me. Job title, has no idea what he's doing. I don't have a link to a picture, so I'm just going to leave that blank for now. And then we'll say, field 1, field 2. We'll say, blah, blah. Just we want some content here. So I'm going to fill this out, hit submit. So that has gone through. And then now we're going to jump over to Zapier. And when we get to Zapier, we're just going to click on make a Zap. And this is going to be the first part of this. So we're going to say, create a team member. What we'll call this one. And then we want to do Webflow. So we're going to say a form submission trigger. So we want a new Zap. First trigger, what's going to fire everything and get everything going is a form submission. So we put in that form submission, save and continue. And then we choose our Webflow site. So I guess I need to connect my account. And then I'll scroll all the way down here at the bottom to my Groovy project. Authorize this. Okay, and I should really name these so much better. You see how terrible I have been at this? It's awful. Okay, so I'm going to save and continue. And now I can choose my site, which is the one I just created. And then I can choose my form name. So this is the form name, add a new team member. You have to have submitted something on that form at least one time for this to show up. So I'm going to choose that. I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so then it pulls in my form submission. You see all the content here, blah, blah, name, all that fun stuff. And we're going to hit continue. Okay. Now you can do a couple of things here. One, you can actually jump back into your Webflow project. I do this a lot. And so I'm going to go ahead and include this here. And I'm going to create a field in my collection and call it Item ID. And I'm going to save that. Because I'm going to put the item ID not only here, but I'm going to put it here so I can use form submissions to update my Webflow site as well. Okay, so I'm just kind of, I'm going to play it both ways. Even though we're probably not going to jump to that, I just want to show you that's, if I have time, maybe I'll cover some of that, but just want to show you what's possible here. So I create that. So what I'm going to do is now that form submission, I'm going to add a step. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a Webflow action, and I'm going to create a live item. Okay. So creating a live item. Here we go. Going to choose my site again, and we'll call this Google Sheets Zap, so that we know which one it is. And I'm going to continue. And then what I'm going to do here is it's going to let me set up the template. So I'm going to say the site is going to be my site. The collection is team members, and then I get to fill out the information. Most people don't struggle with these because it's that brand new one. I didn't put in a profile picture image, but we can go ahead and say profile picture. That way if somebody did paste one in, it would be there. Job title, we're going to get from job title. Field 1, we're going to get from field 1. And we're just connecting these, right? Field 2, we're going to get from field 2. The item ID we don't have yet, but we're going to get there. So we have to name this. So I'm going to call it the person's name, whoever we added. We're going to use their name. And then we choose whether it's archived. No, it's not archived. No, it's not draft. That means it's going to be automatically created and go live as soon as we create this. So I'm going to continue, and then I'm going to jump to the next step. So I'm going to send the test to Webflow, and you can see this item can't be published as your collection structure has changed. Okay, so I started this, and then I went in and added an item ID. So what I need to do is I need to publish my site. So I'm going to come back to my site and publish it, something that you run into from time to time. And then let's resend a test to Webflow. Boom, that works. And then we're going to add another step. Now we can come back in here and refresh our project. And when we do, we'll see that we have another team member. Boom, Ben Parker has no idea what he's doing. This is correct. And so now I've got that there. My information is in. So we've created it there. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do, so I've created the live item. I've caught the form submission, created the live item. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a row to the spreadsheet. So let's choose our app, and let's choose Google Sheets. And then we're going to create a spreadsheet row. Excuse me, had to take a drink. So I'll use my Webflow G Suite account. And now I'm going to jump in here, and I need to pick a sheet. So we go from my Google Drive. Spreadsheet is required. So this live update Zap sheet, which we created here, is what we're going to use. And then we need to select a worksheet. There's only one, so we'll choose that first one there. And then what it does is it looks for the headers up here. So it's found all of these, and it's going to let me map to this just like it would, any other app, right? So name, I'm going to go back to form submission. We're going to map this profile picture, even though I didn't submit one. We're going to go ahead and grab that anyway, just in case we have those in the future. Job title, has no idea what he's doing. Correct. Field 1, and we can start filling these in. Field 2. So we see this here. Field 2. Okay, and then the item ID. How do we get the item ID? Well, here's how we get the item ID. We're going to jump in right here, and where we created a live item, it now shows us, since we created the item, and we're using Webflow here, it's going to give us the item ID. So now we have this here, boom, and we have the item ID for us, and we can continue. And what we're going to do is we are going to send a test to Google Sheets. So it says a test spreadsheet row was added, and then if you look here, now I have, since I created this item using Zapier, I have access to this item ID now. And this is what I need to be able to live update. So now I can make changes to this sheet and update Webflow. This is what we needed to be able to do this, right? So item ID is here now, so I've got that. And then I always like to follow this up. This is going to be another step that maybe you wouldn't want to put in here, but since I like to use Webflow to update my Zaps as well, update items, I would go to Webflow, and I would update a live item. Just want to show you how this works. And so when I jump to my new project that I just created, and I say I want to live update this collection, which is my team collection, as this loads. So team members, boom, I live update that. And then the item ID is required. This is where everybody's always guessing, like, oh, where's the item ID? We have that now. We got that when we created the live item, so we're just going to grab that. We need that to live update. And then we're just going to do the required fields plus this item ID. I want to put this ID into Webflow. So we'll say name. I'll use the name from when I created the live item. We'll archive it. No. Draft. No. And we'll continue. And then once we continue, we hit send test to Webflow. And then an item was just sent to Webflow just now. And then if you jump over here to your collections. So I'm going to refresh my project here so we can get a live look at the data. And then if I jump back in here to my team members, you'll notice that now under Ben Parker, I have an item ID that was added in here. So we live updated this item, and I have it in here now as well. Okay, so boom, that part's done. This is how we create an item and get that item ID. We have it here. Okay, so now this is where we jump into our Zaps. We're going to jump back into Zaps. We're going to start on this Google Sheets to Webflow. Okay, so let's make a Zap. Start here, and then we're going to search for Google Sheets, and then we're going to say a new or updated, new spreadsheet row, new or updated spreadsheet row. We'll say, new spreadsheet row, new or updated spreadsheet row, team drive. They have all these options. We're going to say new or updated spreadsheet row. That's what we want to use. So I'm going to continue. And then I'm just going to use my Webflow. And we'll say my spreadsheet is the one we've been using, which is live update Zap. Okay. And then the worksheet, step 0. Okay, that's sheet 1. Okay. And we're going to say any column, trigger on changes to cells in this column only. So you can specify a specific column, or you can leave it open and you can edit any one. So you say triggers on changes to cells in this column only. Leave this field blank if you want the Zap to trigger on changes to any cell within a row. All new rows within will trigger the Zap even if the trigger column is empty. So even if you throw something out to the side, it's still going to update that that item. So we're going to continue, and then spreadsheet row A. So it's got that. There we go. And we're going to continue. It pulled in our first spreadsheet row. Okay. So now we need to finish this up. We're going to say Webflow. And then we're going to update a live item. We'll continue. And then once we update the live item, we're going to say Google Sheets Zap Site. And then we're going to set up the template. So site is the project we've been working on. Collection, we've been looking in team members. And now the item ID. And this is where, once again, people get stuck. We have this item ID in the sheet now. So we can say that's the item that's getting updated. Profile picture is going to be this field. Job title will be that field. Field number 1 would be this field. Field number 2. Match that to field number 2. Item ID, we could even match that over. Item ID. The name, which is the name of the Webflow item itself, and then we'll set it to archive no, draft no, and then we continue, and we send the test to Webflow. And since we have that item ID, we see that works, and now we're going to say Google Sheets to Webflow, and we'll finish, and then we'll turn this Zap on. So now this Zap is on. I've hit the maximum amount of live Zaps for my current plan. Nice. So let's go to my Zaps and turn a couple of these off. So I'll turn off Test Airtable, and I'll turn off Webflow Upvotes. And then I'll jump back into my app here. Let's see if we can find it. Sheets. Yeah, Google Sheets to Webflow, this one. So we're going to turn this on. Okay, and now that's on and rolling. And so now I should be able to make a change to this sheet, and then it should update in my Webflow project. So instead of, it has no idea what he's doing, let's change this to customer support at Webflow. Okay. And now that change has been saved. And let's just look here. We'll go to task history. And we'll refresh this. Now, this is the hardest part about this one. is that sometimes it's really hard to get this sheet to update. So I always like to like updated, you know, you can change this from yes to no, whatever, or blank it out, but that tends to get it to fire. And that's why people have asked me about this one. I don't really love using Google Sheets just because I feel like this one's hard to get to fire. So we'll take a peek here and see if it's run. It's supposed to be instant. We'll go to team members. See, it hasn't changed yet. And when we look at the task history, it still hasn't run. So this is the hardest part of doing Google Sheets to. So I use Google Sheets a lot. I typically use them to store data and compare data. This is why I don't like creating something, you know, brand new or updating from straight from this. So I'm just going to close this out, and then let's open it back up. Go to history, and we'll see if this will get it to work here. So we'll jump back in here, and then we'll say here, made a change, and we'll see if that gets it to run. And it still didn't run. That's really funny. Okay, so but that is technically how you would do it, right? So that's the setup. Even though it's not really running for me, I have, like I said, I have a hard time getting these to trigger. If we did a new row, it might trigger, but that's how you do it. So task history. If we go to our task, if we go to our Zaps here, Google Sheets to Webflow, what we're going to do is use this item ID to then update a live item in Webflow. So that's the theory behind it. We'll see if this ever runs. But this is, once again, this is why I don't really like using the updated Google Sheet to Webflow. But that's how you would do it. This is where you get the item ID. The same thing works for Airtable. Airtable, I know a lot of people who use Airtable to Webflow, and it's pretty solid and a great way to work. So it might be something you get more mileage out of. So now that we've covered this part, I would probably have to turn some of these off here for me. So actually, I can turn off my Printful since I'm not really using that right now. Webflow to Printful, we'll turn that off, and then let's create another Zap. And I'll show you how to change items in Webflow with forms, right? So let's go to back to our site here. I'm going to jump into this container, and I'm just going to start selecting things. Get rid of that. Get rid of the Coles container here. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to put in a collection list. So I'm going to tie this to team members. And then what I'm going to do is, like, this is where we could put in a lot of information, but we'll just put in, like, you know, a heading and get this from the name. You know, maybe they're H3s. And then with our list, we'll just make it, you know, 3 columns, what have you. And then this is where we could have some fun, right? So we could have, with our team members here, we could have some fields here that are fun to work with or that do different things, like maybe you want to tell people this person is streaming live, or maybe this person is, you know, now available for hire, you know, or whatever it might be, right? So I could have this filled here, now available for hire, right? And then I'm going to save this collection. And right now, nobody is available for hire. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some text. And then I'm just going to say available to hire. And we'll make this like, oh my gosh, if I could spell. And then we'll make this like a color. So we'll make this green. kind of match here. So, and then what we want to do is we want to go here, we want to say conditions available to hire is on. So now it disappears for everybody, right? So maybe we would like a dashboard where we could turn this on, or where, whatever, maybe it's gated, we're using member stack, where people could kind of move this around. Maybe it's an internal tool, right? So the things that we need to live update a Zap are, we need the name, and we need the item ID. So those are like the basics, right? So here in my form, I need to be able to get the name of this collection item. I need to be able to get the item ID. So here's what I do. I will delete these fields. And then what I like to do is I like to come in here and I'll delete this field as well. And I like to put in an embed element. So now I've got this, and I just do input. And you can do type equals text, just to kind of show what this is, right? And then we could say value equals, and then we're going to pull this here. We'll say name, so it's a dynamic value, and we'll say the name equals name. Okay, and then we'll close this, and then we'll save and close. And then you see now I have an input here that has the name in it. And then you could copy and paste this, and you could make this one the item ID, and we could call this one item ID for its name. And then now we have name and an item ID. The rest of these don't have that, but this one does. And then so what you can do is, what I typically do is I come in here and change these from text to hidden. And I save and close those. We'll hide them. And so now they're not visible. And we can say, instead of submit, we'll say mark as available to hire. So now that's what our user is presented with. And then you could really design this and make it really, really, really nice looking. I'm just going to, do some quick cleanup here. And maybe my submit button, I want the width 100%. And so I'll center this. And then you can have some fun games here with what I like to do is go, okay, then now show me on my form my success state. And so what I'm going to do is get me a loading animation. And we're going to use this to kind of give, actually, we'll step back from this for just a second. So we'll say, okay, success in the success state, and we'll mark this, make this background green as well. And we'll make this, not quite so much padding. So now there's our success, there's normal, and success, and maybe we'll make this text white just to match. Okay, so now we have this success, and let's jump back up to our form block. We'll go to normal. So now we have mark is available to hire for each one of these people, and we're just going to save this and we're going to publish it. Okay, so once it's published here, we'll jump straight over. And we'll open up this page. And finally loaded. And I can scroll down and I can say Ben Parker, mark as available to hire, right? So here, and probably what I should say, you can put filters in, but I'm just going to say, mark is available to hire. I'm going to go ahead and push that button. So success, boom, I've been marked available to hire. Okay, and then what I can do is come over here and make a Zap, and I can say Webflow, and we'll do this on form submission. So save and continue, and we'll say Google Sheets Zap. Okay, actually, yeah, that's the site we want. Okay, then we'll say this is the project, and then the form will be email form because that's what it was called. I didn't rename it. And then so this is submission, and you can see it grabbed my item ID and the name of the item, and I can continue here. And then now I can update an item based off this. So I can say, oh, with Webflow, I can go ahead and update a live item. I'll save and continue. I'm going to go down here to my Google Sheets website. And then what I can do is I can toggle a switch based on this form submission. So I can say, okay, this project, let's go back to my team members post. My item ID, I need this. So I want to grab that from the submission. And then I need the name that's required from the submission. We don't want it to be archived, and we don't want it to be a draft. And then now available for hire? Yes, this person is now available for hire. So I'm going to hit continue. And then I'm going to send a test to Webflow. So that was sent to Webflow, and now if I come back here and refresh my page, you'll notice that now Ben Parker is available to hire. Everybody else isn't. That all happened off of this trigger. So I'm going to say this collection item, minimum height, like 250, just so it quits. Wrap it over to new lines here. So I'm going to save this and publish. Okay. So now, with a simple form submission, I was able to say that, okay, now Ben Parker is available to hire. I marked that as available to hire, right? So then we can do really cool things here. We can say, okay, this submit button, I only want to see this if available to hire is off. So now you can't mark me as available to hire, but you can see that I am available to hire, right? So works real well. We see that, right? And then I could add in another form that lets me to mark as not available to hire. So I could toggle that switch back and forth with form submissions. So I'm getting this app-like functionality out of Webflow using Zapier instead of, having to code a whole bunch of things that are super complicated to do this on form submission. We're just changing that value here, right? And so when I was pulling up loading.io, what I like to do is I have some JavaScript that I typically put in my page that refreshes the page whenever I submit a form. So let me show you how that works. So I'm just going to view the dashboard, or grab this code real quick that I use. So while that's loading, I'm going to go ahead and jump back in here and set my team member, myself. I'm going to say I'm not available for hire now. Let's save that. So now this goes back to the way it was. And so now you can see I can be marked as available to hire. And then what I'm going to do is I'm still trying to grab this code from the other side here real quick. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so when I punch this button, it refreshes the page. And so the code that I use to do this looks something like project settings. Okay. It looks something like this. So let's go in here into our about page. We're going to go to the before body tag. Just paste this in. So basically what we're saying is it's a Webflow script. So what we're going to say is on submit, we're going to set a timeout, and then we're going to reload this page. So save this. And then what I like to do is I'm going to grab this green value here. And I like to grab just a loading animation. So, maybe it's just, an ellipsis here. And I'm just going to make color 1 be my green. Actually, I want these to be white. And I'll show you what I like to do here, I'll make all of these white, and then make the background color green, because that's the green that I'm using. And we can turn the speed down so that it's not so crazy fast here. Then maybe we turn the size down just a little bit. But then what I want to do is save this. Failed to save. Great. Failed to save. That's no good. That's no bueno. So let's see if we can download it as a GIF. Yes, free download. Okay, so it's going to let us download at least if it won't let us save. And so we're going to grab this GIF. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw this into the success state of the page. So almost there. It's still trying to download. So we're going to download this. Okay. So then what we're going to do here is on my form, I have the submit button. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back to the success state. And it's green. Instead of this text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an image. And I'm going to choose my image. And since I'm streaming, it's going to be extremely difficult and slow. Let me refresh the page and see if this helps. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's jump here to my image assets. There we go. We're going to upload this ellipsis. There we go. Okay, so we're on about. We're going to jump down here to this form. We're going to switch over to the success state. And then we're going to connect this image to the GIF we just got. So I'm going to make this height 120 maybe. We need that to be shorter. And we need this image. I would style this differently, but just to kind of give you the picture of what this looks like here. So now the success state looks like this, and the normal form looks like this. So success, in fact, I want to make this probably even a little shorter just so it matches. 40, maybe that's it. Okay, that works good enough. And then just want them to be able to see this here. Okay, and so now if I switch back in my form to my success state, to my normal state, I'm going to save this and I'm going to republish. And I'll show you how this works. And in fact, what we want to do is on our collection list, we want to only show people if they're now available for hire. Well, actually, we'll just start like this. Okay, so we just published. We're going to refresh. And so since I went in and edited this, I shouldn't see available to hire anymore, and I don't. So I'm going to finish this Zap real quick, and I want to turn it on so I have it up and running. So, okay, that's on. Okay, so now if I mark myself as available for hire, you'll see now it shows this loading GIF. Boom, the page refreshes, and it says, oh, available to hire. I marked that. It now shows it, right? And you could do even more cool things with this. So let's go back in here and look at me and my item. And actually, let's refresh this real quick since that's changed. Boom. Okay, so we're going to come in here to team members and take this, and I'm going to uncheck myself again and save it. All right, perfect. So now we have this list. So what we can do is we can, I'm going to, on my collection list here, I'm just going to make these stretch all the way. And right here in this container, I'm just going to drop in. I've never used columns, but I'm going to use it here just to move quickly. And I'm going to drop this into column 1. And then I'm going to duplicate this collection. And I'm going to drop it into column 2. So now we have them over here. And then what we want to do is on this collection list, we're going to say the available to hire is off. So we're only going to show people who aren't available to hire. And on this side, we're going to filter, and we're going to say if they're available to hire is 1. I'm going to show the people who are available to hire. So no items found here, and then, you know, items found here, right? So now when we publish this, and then we reload this page, now you'll see these people are available to hire. These aren't. If I mark this, it's going to go through success. So it shows that state, refreshes, and now my name moves from this column to this column. I'm now available to hire, right? And if I had put in another form over here on this collection, I could punch a button, create another Zap, and toggle that button back and move me back to the left column. So you kind of get this app-like functionality using Webflow and Zapier without having to actually write a bunch of code and what have you. So just wanted to show you a little bit about what this looks like in Webflow when you're using item IDs and both, you know, Google Sheets. And you can see, oh, hey, Google Sheets to Webflow, that finally triggered. And so let's go back over here. Sometimes it takes a while. If we go to team members, you can see, hey, my job title changed. Customer support at Webflow. Customer support at Webflow. So, so this is how you get the item ID. So you can use Zapier, and the key is when you're running your Zaps, once you create, you say, I'm going to have a form submission, and I'm going to create a live item. So I'm going to go back to my Zaps here, not have to find it, but create a team member. This is what we used earlier. So once I create a live item, now that item ID is available to me and to use in any subsequent step of my Zap. So I can put that in. I posted this earlier, but I'm going to share this again here, just so you have it. This is a video, if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch or Mixer. This is a link to where you can, to a video on my YouTube channel where you can learn how to grab those item IDs. Let's say you already have 100 items. You're like, okay, well, I need the item IDs for all 100 items. It shows you how you can grab those, and then you can punch those in, and then anytime you make a change, it will live update. So this is how to live update Webflow items using Google Sheets, Zapier, and Webflow. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully this was helpful to people and to anybody who watches. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond when I can.